tonight. Welcome to Perkiomen School's information session highlighting student life. We're so happy that you could join us. For those that don't know me, my name is Abby Parrish-Moser, and I'm the Director of Admissions and Financial Aid. This is my 9th year at Perkiomen School. I've worked in admissions for 25 years, both in independent schools and college admissions. Before we get started tonight, I did want to review a few housekeeping details. Tonight's event is being recorded. It would be wonderful for us to see you. So if you're able to have your camera on, that would be great. But if not, that's okay. We get it. No worries. If you could remain muted with your mic off during the presentation, that would be appreciated. If you have questions, you can certainly put them in the chat feature. However, there will be dedicated time for questions a bit later. And any questions we're not able to answer during the event will be answered individually with a follow-up phone call or email. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce you to two of my colleagues, Mr. Manfredini and Ms. Gupel. Mr. Kevin Manfredini is Assistant Head of School for Student Life. He studied physical education at Springfield College in Massachusetts and has a master's degree in educational administration from Norwich University. Mr. Manfredini joined the Perkiomen community in 1982. In addition to teaching physical education and physics, he was a dorm parent, head coach for girls basketball, head coach for baseball, and helped coach football. Today, he's one of the most recognizable and most respected members of our school community. Ms. Amber Gupel is Director of Student Life Programs. She studied art history at Temple University and has a master's degree in art history from Pratt Institute in New York. Ms. Gupel joined Perkiomen School in 2009 as a visual arts teacher. In my short time at Perkiomen, I've also known her as a department head for the Fine Arts Department and head of middle school. She's a creative genius with a knack for getting things done. Please join me tonight in welcoming Mr. Manfredini and Ms. Gupel as they give an overview of student life at Perkiomen School.
Good evening. It's nice to see everyone. I see Mr. Wilson there. How you doing, Greg? One of our old students right there now. How things have feeling old now at this point as I see on the Zoom here. But just want to welcome everyone. I hope your Thanksgiving holiday was well, and hopefully you're looking forward to a good Christmas holiday as well. Ms. Gupel?
Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Gupel. It's so nice to see so many faces here, and I'm really looking forward to the program tonight and that you have the chance to hear from some of our students, and I hope to hear from some of you as well. So thank you so much. And tonight we have with us a really great group of kids. We have Garrett McKenzie, Mia Skuriton, Owen Taylor, Sophia Taylor, and Shane Baird. And I'm going to pass it over to them and ask them to further introduce themselves. We're going to start with Garrett, then Mia, Owen, Sophia, and then Shane. So Garrett.
All right, so hi everybody, I'm Garrett, not Knowles, Garrett McKenzie, no sweat there. So I'm 15, I'm currently in 9th grade, and I've been here since 6th grade, so right at the start. And just some activities I'm involved with are soccer, rock band. I'm a co-director of the Writing Center, and I'm on Student Senate. So that's pretty much it for me.
Hi everyone, my name is Mia. I am a junior and this is my 2nd year at Perk, so I was new last year. I'm a boarder from Mendham, New Jersey, and some of the things I'm involved in are I'm a part of both the Medical and the Entrepreneurship Institutes. I am a proctor. I'm on the Tour Guide Leadership Committee. I'm a Writing Center Fellow, and I'm a Purple and Gold team leader. I manage varsity boys basketball and varsity baseball, and I play volleyball and I run track.
My name's Owen. I'm a senior at Perkiomen. This is my 3rd year here. I am from Nassau, Bahamas, where I currently am. I am involved in the baseball team and soccer team. I was captain on both of those. I'm a student proctor like Mia. I'm a purple and gold team captain. I am on the student athletic committee, and I help out with admissions events like this, and as well as the diversity club activities.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I am a junior this year. My first year was freshman year, so I've been here for 3 years. I am a day student from Goodrickwell, Pennsylvania, which is near Boyertown, if you know where that is. I play volleyball. I now play swimming. Used to be on basketball, and I do lacrosse. I'm also part of the tour guide leadership committee, peer tutor, Senate, purple and gold team leader, student athletic committee, and there's one more, I forget.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shane Baird. I'm a day student here. It's my first year here, and I love it here so far. I'm a sophomore. I'm 15, and I'm part of the swim team, and I play baseball. And that's pretty much all I got as of right now.
Okay, so we do have some questions, and one of the things that I did want to point out also, I did make reference to Greg Wilson that you see as a former student, but Shane's dad was also one of our students here as well. So we do have a few people here that have been students here, or their parents have been students and are now coming back, which is always great to have. But we do have several questions that we're going to go through. We're going to ask the students on our panel to answer them for you. And as Ms. Moser had mentioned before, there'll be obviously time for your questions once we get through these. So the first question that I have, we'll have Garrett answer it first. What are the leadership opportunities on campus?
All right, so like I said, I'm a co-director of the Writing Center, which is basically this program run by one of our faculty. She kind of oversees it, but it's actually mostly student run. What we do is we help other students in English classes or science classes, wherever you might be writing a paper. And we kind of help them edit and revise their work and make it their best possible draft. So that's one of the leadership opportunities. Another one is Student Senate, obviously. That's going really well this year. We're starting to actually draft a constitution for the school, which I'm really excited about. So that's open to, I think, every grade level. Middle school has their own Student Senate, and then upper school has their own Student Senate, kind of separate from each other, but they do work together from time to time. There's leadership opportunities for sports. I think Mia mentioned she's manager for a couple of the sports teams, so that's a big responsibility there. So if you are not necessarily an athlete in that sport, but you do like helping out and being a part of that, you can definitely be a manager there. And there are obviously captains who are the actual athletes on the team. So yeah, there's really a lot of leadership opportunities. And if you have certain things in mind that I didn't mention, there's always like chances to create new opportunities if you need them.
Thank you, Garrett. Sophia?
I mean, kind of just to go off what Garrett said, like there's so many opportunities that Perkiomen offers. And like what I mentioned, I'm in 5 of them. So at least just the committees in general. And another thing, like what he said, is about the sports. And at Perkiomen, you are required to play at least one sport. I play 3 of them, which I absolutely enjoy and I love doing. And just being able to like take part of that and like being able to help kids out during that, even though it's like I'm not a captain, it's not an official role, there's still like you can still be a leader in different like areas, if that makes sense.
So at Perkiomen, we have some really great traditions, and I wondered what some of your favorite traditions are on campus. So we're going to start with Owen, and then I'm going to ask Mia to answer the same question.
So 2 come to mind. The first one's more of a formal event. It's called Vespers. It's kind of a ceremony that comes right before Christmas, and of people who give, prayers, and there's Christmas music and singing, and afterwards there's a little dessert buffet. Everyone dresses up. It's really nice. It's nicely done, put on together very well. And it's always been the past 2 years. Wonder if there'll something similar this year. But then the more fun one for me is in past years, during exam week, you have a study break at night for about like 45 minutes to an hour in the dining hall where you get ice cream or pancakes or, cookies and desserts. And I always enjoyed that because, it's stressful during exam weeks, but you get that hour to just kind of relax with your friends and enjoy some ice cream and chill out. Didn't have that this year, Thanksgiving, but hopefully in years to come, they'll continue that. So those are the two that come to my mind.
So the two that come to my mind, I always say this whenever I'm asked this question, and even though I can't eat dumplings anymore, but I love the dumpling festival. Um, we did, I don't know if it was done in years prior, but last year we had this formal dinner, and it was all these different types of dumplings, and I didn't know that like there were like dumplings from like every single culture. Like it was amazing. It was like you got to sit with your friends, but we all dressed up in our Monday dress, and it was like all fancy. We all like ate so much, and I loved it so much, and I had so much fun. And then my other one that comes to mind is I've been a part of the baseball team as their manager the past 2 years. And we went to a homeless shelter in Philly last Christmas, and it was such a fun experience. We gave out presents to all the kids. There was these teddy bears that the players were stuffing and giving to kids. One of the coaches actually dressed up as Santa, and we all took pictures with him at the end. And it was such a good experience because it was a leadership opportunity, and we were doing a good thing, but we were also having so much fun. Like some of the players would be like sitting with kids building Legos like the whole time, and it was really a great experience and something I'm not going to forget. And we were just texting about it in the group chat the other day, saying it's really sad that we couldn't be there this year, but it was definitely a great experience, and I'll be looking forward to it next year, hopefully.
Thank you, Mia. For our next question, has anything surprised you since coming to Perkiomen School? I'd first like Shane to answer that.
I'll gladly answer that. A lot of things here surprised me, especially about how many people were here to welcome me and just introduce me to all these new students, especially connecting through different sports. Like as a start, baseball maybe. Right when I got there, I already knew one of the kids, which is great. So I was introduced to the whole team, and I was surprised to just know how comfortable I was with everyone because everyone was so welcome with each other. So that was a great experience. And I was also surprised about the fact that because there is only about 8 students in each class, it was great to have one-on-one experiences with the teacher, so you don't feel embarrassed asking any questions. And I was surprised to just have a better one-on-one experience with the teacher, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Shane. Mia, has anything surprised you since coming to Perkiomen School?
I surprised myself. I came out of my shell a lot. Miss Gleason always tells this story that I always remember. It was orientation week, and I had never played volleyball other than like middle school gym class. And Miss Gleason took me to practice, and she was like, "Go play volleyball." And I impressed myself so much, and I was so like surprised at how much I loved it because I've been running my whole life. Like track has always been my sport, and doing volleyball, it was like a whole different game. Like the relationships you have with your teammates, especially because most of us live together. Obviously there are day students, but when you live with your friends, it's like a sleepover every day. And you always have your friends there for help. Like I'll go up to my friends' rooms, ask for help with my homework all the time. which is really a great experience. And then just the overall sense of family we have at Perk, I really feel like it's home. It's my home away from home. I don't think I've ever really been homesick, even though I only live like an hour away, but it really is my second family. And I'm super grateful for that because I was nervous when I was coming to Perk. But the sports teams, all the clubs, your teachers are always looking out for you. That was a huge thing for me, like the teachers looking out for me, because at public school, you don't really get that attention. So that was super great. And I guess that's like was surprising to me.
Thank you, Mia. Garrett, has anything surprised you since coming to Perkiomen?
Probably the biggest one for me is the willingness to create new programs and opportunities based on what your interests are. The thing that primarily drew me to Perk was the academics first, because that's what we heard about Perk first, was their really good academic programs. But also at my old school, the education wasn't bad by any regard. It was very good, but there wasn't really room for me to grow personally outside of just your core math, science, history classes. So getting to Perk, I'm trying to remember what it was. Yeah, 6th grade, I play guitar and I wanted to be in the band, and they didn't have a guitar. So I was like, well, I guess I'll go play soccer. And they're like, no, we'll have a guitar for you like tomorrow. And I showed up and then they had a guitar. So, it's something small like that, but it just represents the bigger idea of that whatever you want, whatever you need, like what your goals are, like you can really get them here. You can really work for what you want to be as a person. So I think that's really cool.
All right, so I wonder if a few of you can speak about the interaction between day and boarding students. And so I'm gonna ask Sophia and then Owen to answer that question.
So as a day student at first, like what Mia said, how boarding students, like you were having sleepovers every day, like you guys were like really close. Like I thought I was gonna be left out of things. But that wasn't the case at all. I was on campus probably more than I should have been. I was going to like all the different activities. I was staying for dinner. All my friends are boarders, so I thought why go home if I can like do homework with them and like go eat dinner with them and like spend time. I was up there for weekend activities, and then being in like the medical institute, I was going to different external experiences on campus as well with all the boarders. So if you're worried about that at all, there's really like no divide, if that makes sense. And there's really like you can be friends with boarders and like still hang out with them. Even this year with like day students not being allowed on campus like extra hours, like there were still like times where you could come back to campus over the weekends and still hang out. So like just trying to take advantage of what opportunities you're given and what time you're given with everyone, so then you can like not have that divide.
Hit right on the head. There's a lot of interaction between boarders and day students. I'll give this example because Shane's on the call. Like me and Shane are both on the baseball team, and I see Shane at 6 a.m. and I'm still at practice with him at 6:15 p.m. So I see Shane for a 12-hour day. So there's a lot of time for interaction between day students and boarders. Like Sophia said, weekend trips or activities, there's always chances for day students to come, and most times there will be day students there. And the kind of small community allows you to interact with them on a face-to-face basis. You're not getting lost in a massive number of students and the thousands of students. You get personal time with everyone, you'll find the people you like and the people you don't like, then it's okay. But I think there's a lot of time for interaction between, day students and boarders, just like Sophia said.
Okay, and I would just like to add, I know that Sophia had mentioned how active her first year she was here on campus, even though she was a day student. And she did mention how this year that she goes home and has to go home earlier. Obviously, with our protocols that we have in place for COVID-19, we do limit as far as coming and going off campus. And that's just for everyone's protection at this point, as we try to maintain a safe campus for everyone involved. But Sophia is right. Sophia is one of our day students that is here constantly and is involved in a lot of different things. For the next question, I'd like Garrett to answer first, then Owen, and then Shane. How would you describe the relationship between faculty and students?
All right, that's an interesting one, especially for PERC because of the advisor program, which is the first thing that comes to mind. So for those of you that don't know, when you get to PERC, like right on your first day, you are assigned to a particular teacher or faculty member. And I believe the schedule is a little different this year with being virtual right now. But throughout the week, you'll meet with that teacher for morning meetings. You'll occasionally go to them at conference periods. And you can just, talk about your classes, what you might need a little help in, what you're doing well in, new opportunities again that like you might want to see open up. So they really work with you, like especially in that setting, to further your needs and interests. And then in the classroom, forget who it was, someone mentioned that the smaller class sizes allow for more personal interaction, and allow you to ask more personalized questions to what you need, which is definitely true. The smaller class sizes does allow you a certain, I don't know what the right phrase for it is, but a certain degree of personality to your day-to-day interactions, because at public school, I know you go in, you sit down at your desk, you open your book and you do your work, and then you get up and you leave. But here it's like a constant conversation, this is what I'm going to teach you. Do you need help with this? Okay, like let's work on it. So it just really allows you to grow.
I agree with what Garrett said. He first mentioned advisor, and I still remember like my first year advisor 3 years ago. Garrett was a little, 7th grader then in my advisory as well. So that's just one thing. That was my first memory of PERC. I think there's a lot of good interactions between faculty and students at PERC. At my old school, they were kind of very strict teachers, and you see your teachers as like these authority figures that are heartless and soulless and just there to, make your day bad. They yell at you and yeah. But then you come to PERC, and then even if you still think you see your teacher that way, that teacher's a little harsh today. An hour later, you see them walking their dog around campus, or you see them pushing their baby in their stroller. You're like, they're people too. It was just a real perspective change from where I came from my old school. Especially, I have dorm parents. Someone who lives on my floor was my math teacher. He helped me how to tie a tie. I never tied a tie before. I didn't have any money on my laundry card. He helped me with drying my clothes. So you get a lot of interactions with your teachers outside of the classroom, which I think really allows you to, once you have this stronger bond with a teacher, I think you are more willing to learn and pay attention in class. So I think it helps you both on an educational side and just a relationship. If you can ask your teachers for help with this schoolwork outside the classroom, they're always willing to help. So I think PERC really kind of changed my view of how I see my teachers in a drastic way.
Exactly what Owen said. Coming straight from public school, I, first class sat down, I'm like, oh, well, just gotta get ready for my class. This guy's just gonna talk. I just gotta listen. But no, especially right what Garrett said too with my advisor. It's the first thing that pops in my head. I have Mr. Robinson as my advisor, and I'm always looking forward to it because I have a great advisory with Tommy and a couple other people, and we have the whole time we're talking the entire time, and it's great to talk with Mr. Robinson, just a one-on-one sort of thing. But right what Owen said too, coming from public school, it's a lot different on how you look at teachers, because like you said, there are people too. It's hard to add on what everyone said because it's exactly what I was thinking. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, that's great. All right, so Sophia and then Mia, could you talk a little bit about what supports are on campus for all students, and then maybe a little bit thinking about new students, what we have?
So, I mean, by supports, do you mean like different groups or do you mean just like the community in general?
So I think probably both, right? We have some formal things in place, and then we
Mhm.
have some sort of informal community things that happen, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, right in the beginning, one thing that I found really supportive, like my freshman year, was orientation. And, like, I know that was a little bit different this year than it was in past years, obviously due to the virus. But we have like a group of people that are picked during the summer, and they're like set for you. I like to help new students around campus and like being able to like show them where to go and what you need and bring you to like teachers and like in your advisor and stuff like that. And I found that really helpful my freshman year. I probably wouldn't have been able to get around that huge campus without someone showing me what to do and all those different names of all the different buildings. Um, and then I think our community as a whole is very supportive. Like there's no one that I don't think I can't turn to for anything, like for any reason. Like if there's something for sports, I have my coaches, and then people have coached in the past and my teammates. If I have academics, I can always turn to my teachers. Kind of like what Garrett, Owen, and Shane said, like your teachers are obviously authority figures, but they're like people who you can turn to for really anything as well. Um, and like you'll see them around campus, so it's really easy to talk to them. And then all of the students, like we're a really good group of kids, I think, and like everyone can help you with anything.
So the first person that comes to mind when I think of my support system at Perk is my advisor. I literally go to her for everything, whether it's about like class or if it's just like drama that's going on. She was new the same time as me last year, and she was like, I'm new too, we're gonna do this together. Obviously one of the first things that comes to my mind is orientation, but Sophia already talked about that. So when like I just started going to her for everything if I was having problems with my grades, like friend drama, because it really does help to have someone who's older and more mature and gone through all of that, someone else's opinion. I was actually FaceTiming her last night because I needed help with my math homework. So it is super helpful to have that advisor, and I know a bunch of kids have talked about that already, so I won't like go off on like the advisor spiel. But another thing that I thought of when I thought of like the support system when you first get to Perk is purple and gold teams. I am on the orange team, and that's one of my first memories from being at Perk was we had this like field day thing, and everyone met on the soccer field, and we did like wheelbarrow races and like these hula hoop things, and like some of my best friends I met and started talking to like that day. And it was like a type of icebreaker thing that we did during orientation. I really enjoyed it because it was a great way to like get to know my peers without it being like awkward like in class. So purple and gold teams is definitely one of my favorite things for sure.
Okay, for our next question, I will ask Sophia first and then Owen. Can you talk about a favorite project you have had or worked on in a particular class?
So I think for mine, I'm gonna go back to freshman year in my foundations in medical science class. I was the only freshman in that class and the first one to take it. So it was a little tough, not really having a curriculum like set exactly for me, trying to like be better than my junior peers. But the last like final project that we had was creating our practicum for the medical institute. And Mr. Joseph, who was here at the time, who was also an alumni, I had to have a sit down conversation because I'm very indecisive and did not know which one to pick. I had like 10 different ideas, and we finally picked one about triage. So I probably did 3 extra pages than I had to on that project because I got so interested in it. And then I've continued that throughout the years. So now I'm in my junior year trying to finish that project. And I was going to do different surveys in hospitals this summer, which I really couldn't do. But the virus actually kind of helped it a little bit in figuring out different ways of triage and how that played into the pandemic as well. So I'm kind of excited to keep continuing that project and adding that new feature into it.
Mine is one I actually did fairly recently in psychology. It's about how we learn. So I had to look at types of learning conditioning, classical conditioning, and the other type of conditioning that I forgot. But I had to kind of make an experiment where you see, okay, my dog barks at people, and someone comes to the door, rings the doorbell, my dog starts barking because he thinks there's someone on the other side of the door because he hears the doorbell. But what if we just started playing the doorbell sound without there being someone actually there? And so it's just showing how how we learn as living things, and it was actually very interesting to learn. So that was my favorite project I've done.
All right, Mia, and then Garrett, what are you looking forward to in your Perkiomen future?
So I'm super excited for the spring because I have not experienced a real baseball season as long as I've been the manager. I've done the scoreboard and the box and the water bottles and everything in the fall during the fall baseball season, but I have not experienced the spring yet. And all the players will not stop talking about how great spring baseball is. So I can't wait for that. I also just can't wait for volleyball. Volleyball season might be my favorite time of the year. The team is so close. Like, we joke around during practice so much. It's so funny. And it's just so fun. I look forward to practice every day. I don't think there was a single day this season that I was like, I don't want to go to volleyball practice. So even though I was new, like, this was only my second year playing, and there were like recruits from like Puerto Rico playing on the team. And I was never intimidated because it's just like a family. Like, everyone always does everything together. So I'm just really excited to get back to playing volleyball, but I'm also excited to start my medical project. I've decided to do how concussions and traumatic brain injuries can be linked to mental health issues. So I'm working with Dr. Rogers right now to work out all of my information and how I'm going to do it, but I'm super excited for that.
So probably the two things that come to mind for me right away is one, I'm hoping to join the Entrepreneur Institute hopefully next year. So I'll have to see how my schedule allows that. But I'm definitely very interested in the process of entrepreneurship and creating your own product and your own brand. I don't really know enough about the subject to go more in depth about it, but I really am excited to learn about it. And then the other thing for me is varsity soccer next year. This was my first year playing on the team, which we didn't get a season, but we were still doing training and then scrimmages within the squad, which was a lot of fun. And I had played on, middle school soccer back in 8th grade, which was fun, but because, you're required to play, the level of commitment, it's not super serious. And I'm really, big into soccer. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully playing a real season and really getting to mesh as a team through those experiences.
Okay, for our next question, Sophia, I would like first, and then Shane. How do you feel Perkiomen has adjusted to COVID?
I mean, I feel like it's gone very smoothly. I know last year was a little bit tough because it was over our like spring break, so we left February 28th and then never came back. And I think that was a little bit tough for me, just like not being able to see everyone and like not being able to say like those final goodbyes to the seniors. But the way that our school handled it, I think was very smooth. I was able to jump into classes right away. Sure, they're a little bit different, and there was like some kinks, like even the teachers need to work out because they weren't all knowledgeable about the technology at that point. But I think everybody's adjusted really well, and now that we're all virtual again, I think that transition was very smooth. We did a practice one, I think like 2 weeks ago. And now that's coming into play. And I think like everyone's just doing really well with it.
As far as comparing this year and last year, I don't have much to say because it is my first year. But as far as adjusting, I think everyone at Perk has done a very good job. There's very minimal cases. I think the first one was maybe a couple weeks ago, and that was the first one for the first 2 months. So I think we all did a very good job of adjusting. Masks, the whole mask thing, it's not as bad as you think it is. And I think Perk's doing a very good job with the whole lunch tables with the plexiglass. And as far as that, they did a very good job, and I'm happy that we might have another opportunity to go back to school in January if everything goes well.
All right, and so the last of our sort of prepared questions is going to be for all of our student panelists. And I'd like to know what advice you have for new students. And so I'm gonna ask you to, we'll start with Sophia, then Garrett, then Shane, Owen, and Mia.
So I think one big thing for me is just like trying everything that you're even like a little bit interested in. Like even just like sparks your interest just a little bit, just try it. And if you don't like it, then at least you can say you tried it. But if you end up liking it, it's something that you can continue on forever. There's so many opportunities at Perkiomen to get involved in. And I would just take advantage of everything that you're offered to.
I would probably say don't be afraid to ask for anything, because there's always someone that's willing to help you and give you what you need. Just, be yourself, go after the things that you're interested in, because I can guarantee you will be able to work at those and achieve those goals here. And also just don't be afraid to open up to people, because they will open up to you.
Being a new student at Perk, first thing right off the bat, introduce yourself to someone you don't know. I remember my first day, I went up to this girl and I was like, "Hi, I'm Shane. It's really nice to meet you. I'm new this year. How about you?" She was new, and we went in a conversation immediately. So I just say, don't be afraid of just going up and just saying saying hi to someone is just the start. And it only gets better from there. Everyone's very comfortable here at Perk, and I've gotten very close relationships, even from these past 2-3 months. I've gotten very close with people, and I just say, just go for it and don't be afraid.
But they've all given great advice so far. Mine's just don't worry. You'll be fine. Like there's nothing that you can't overcome. There's nothing that there won't be someone who can help you with, whether it's, grades and classes or athletics or, living at school if you would be a boarder. There's nothing that you can't handle. And if it's something even tougher, there's always people out there to help you. So I think you'll be fine no matter what your situation may be.
I would say be wise how you spend your time. This is a really big thing that I talk to my friends from home about a lot, because being at Perk, sorry, there's a bug, has changed my values so much and what I find important so much than what my friends at public school back at home might value. And just with spending time, I look back at last year and I wish I had spent more time with my friends that graduated, because it is really hard when, especially under the circumstances we were under, where there was that period of time where we were on spring break and then we just didn't come back. So I would definitely say be wise how you spend your time, and also make sure you're going to leave Perk with no regrets. I don't want to, if I hadn't played volleyball, because I was I might just do cross country because I can run, that's fine. But I know that when I graduated, I would have been very regretful about the fact that I hadn't tried something new. So just go out and do what you want to do, and just know that there are always people behind you. Like, going out and trying something new, you're not going to get judged for it because everyone does it here. So definitely do something new, and just know that there are so many people supporting you and there are so many people cheering you on. So there's really nothing to worry about, like Owen said.
Well, I feel like that's great advice for all of us, not just new students. Thank you. So I know there are probably questions from our guests, so I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Misavicious, who's going to help us with that.
Yes, so if you do have any questions, I do have one or two that came through, but please feel free to put it in the chat and that will come directly to me and then I can direct it to our panelist. But someone asked, and Sophia, I think I'll give this to you to start and maybe you can just answer it. What is purple and gold? You guys talked about it a lot and I'm realizing that's a great question because we didn't really talk about what exactly it is. So maybe Sophia, can you explain what exactly purple and gold is?
Yeah, so purple and gold has changed a little bit since I've been at Perk. So my first year, it was split up into dorm rooms, and then us day students would get assigned to a different dorm, and then we would do different activities and kind of compete against each other to see who could get the most amount of points by the end of the year. And we also got points by participating in Spirit Week and participating in other activities. But last year we changed it to different community service areas. So our teams are now split into different colors. I'm on the yellow team with Mrs. Mishavicious, and I'm also a leader of that. And right now we're kind of starting to work on some ideas on what to do virtually, for different activities. And we started this year with a Spirit Week that everyone could participate in virtually or in person. And we're gonna try to do a couple more Spirit Weeks, a couple more Spirit Days throughout the year, and then try to continue those different activities to get more points for each team.
Great, thank you. This question for Owen, what do evenings look like for boarding students?
Okay, I'm gonna assume it's post-COVID, so we're gonna go back to past 2 years. So usually after school, you'll have your classes end at 2:15, around there. You'll have your after school activity from 3 till 5-ish. Some teams will go longer. Then usually have an hour between your activity and dinner. So personally, I would usually go back to my room, shower, either watch a little bit of Netflix or chill or do a little bit of homework if I have a lot. And then you have dinner from 6 to 7. You go eat with your friends at your table. And then in past years, a lot of times boarding students would go to a student center we had called Robbie's. There's a little convenience store in there with snacks and drinks. There used to be a pool table. I think there was a ping pong table, rumor has it. And so, yeah, you just kind of chilling there with your friends. You talk, you laugh, you joke. And it goes till about 7:50-ish, I believe. Then you have study hall from 8 to 10, get all your work done. Some dorm parents are nicer and let you take a nap if you finished all your work. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. You unwind. Personally, I go to bed pretty early because I'm up early most days, but you do whatever you want. It's nice, it's fun. Like Mia said earlier, you're really at a place with all your best friends. So you see them all the time in the evenings or during school. It's really fun at nights. So it's kind of a typical post or pre-COVID night for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Owen. And this is actually another boarding school question, so I will give this to Mia. What was your adjustment like moving away from home and coming to campus?
I was pretty nervous. I was excited though, because it's a lot more freedom than being at home. With the freedom comes responsibility, obviously. My roommate was from Germany last year, so she was a single year exchange student, so she was new too, so we kind of went through it all together. It definitely was difficult saying goodbye to my parents, but one of my first memories from being at Perk was right after my parents helped me move into my room. It was right after I took my ID picture. I was literally fresh on campus. I was completely overdressed. Everyone was wearing comfortable clothes and I was all dressed up. But my mom and I we're going to get our food. And then I went to sit with my parents because I was like nervous. I was like, I'm scared to sit with other people. And a table of girls were like, do you want to come sit with us? And I was like, yeah. So that kind of helps kick it off for me because I was like, oh, like everyone's so welcoming and I wasn't as nervous anymore. And just knowing my parents are always a phone call away. Like your parents will always be a phone call away. I call my mom like every day and I ask her the stupidest questions. Like I had to learn how to iron for the first time this school year and it was a very difficult process, and it's not just your parents that'll help you, your dorm parents will help you adjust so much. They literally live there, most of them, so you can just knock on their door and be like, I need help with this. I mean, I knocked on Miss Vita's door so many times because I had problems with the washing machine. So whatever you need help with, there are people there, and they tell you don't go home every weekend, but I found I didn't want to, just because there's so much going on. I always wanted to go to the mall or the outlets whenever there was a trip, or snow tubing at Bear Creek, but just overall being around your friends, it's definitely an experience that I really enjoy being there on the weekends for. And then I had the pleasure of taking some of my boarding friends home with me to New Jersey and bringing them into that experience too. So it's definitely, depending on how far away you live, the adjustment's going to be a little different, but no matter what, it's very comfortable, especially because everyone's so understanding. All the teachers and all the faculty are super understanding of the fact that this is new for you. So it's really just on yourself. Like, don't be so hard on yourself.
Okay, and Mia, I'm going to stick with you because this question is specifically for you. What year did you start? You mentioned this, but what year did you start boarding at Perk, and do you wish you started boarding a different year?
That's a good one. So I started boarding my sophomore year and I went to my public high school my freshman year. I do wish that I had taken the initiative to come to Perk my freshman year just because the opportunities are incredible. Like everyone always says this because like that's what you would expect, but I'm 100% serious when I say my opportunities at Perk are just like amazing. And my friends from home are always like, come back to Mendham. And I'm always like, I can't, because my opportunities and my community there is just so amazing. And one of the biggest things I was nervous about boarding was maintaining my relationships with my friends from home. And it's all about a balance. So as long as you can maintain that balance, like FaceTime your friends from home once a week, and then hang out with them when you're home. But my Perk community is my school. So I really wish I had joined my freshman year just because I wish I could have played volleyball. And also I wish that I could have gotten more of a head start on my medical institute project. But it's definitely, you'll be able to jump right in no matter what year you come. So if you are a senior coming to Perk for the first time, you're still going to have amazing things to do. So don't worry too much about what year you're coming because you'll still be able to do amazing things.
Thank you, Mia. And Garrett, I think this will be a good one for you. What music opportunities are there at Perk?
All right, this actually sounds a lot like a question I asked when I did one of these when I was thinking about coming here. So first, there's in normal times there's an orchestra, obviously, you know, violins, trumpets, all your typical orchestra instruments. This year, because we can't have wind instruments and we can't sit too close, they've kind of put that on hold for the year, and instead they're doing a percussion ensemble, which is nice for me because I'm also a drummer. But we're learning handbells, which I've actually never done before, and bucket drumming. So they're still finding ways, even through COVID, to, you know, get music opportunities for people who are interested. In normal times, there's also, I think there's a string ensemble for just strings. If you're really serious about that, that's outside of school and that's kind of on your own time, but there's still that. In the fall, which I this year and last year have split time with soccer, there's a rock band, which rock band is kind of a loose term. It's basically whatever you want to play, you know, pop, jazz, R&B. We've done some original stuff. This year we made music videos because we can't perform live, obviously, which was a really great experience to be part of, and seemed like a lot of people enjoyed the videos. And in years past, people have said that the concerts are always really good. So pretty much no matter what instrument you play, like there's something for you to do here.
Thank you. I'm going to give this one to Owen. Owen, are there any sports players looking to be recruited?
Short answer, yes. This is very strong, in my opinion, athletic program at Perk, particularly baseball, basketball, volleyball. Not to say other sports there aren't recruits for other sports, because like I know someone who used to go to Perk that's, you know, a Division I rower down in Florida. She didn't row at Perk, but just the athletic background and the setup it gives you will help you reach far. So you know, there's a lot of basketball kids that are D1 commits. There's a few baseball kids that are looking to commit pretty soon. So there are a lot of sports and opportunities for recruits if you are looking to pursue that after Perkiomen School.
Thank you. Sophia, I have two for you. First, can you talk about other arts opportunities on campus outside of music? And what is Student Senate?
Okay, so for the arts, we have a couple of other options besides just music. We have ceramics, we have studio art, and then we also have a couple like after school activities. So if you didn't want to choose a sport, you could also do art as an after school activity. And then we also have like, I think it's so we have the theater, and they do a musical in the fall and then a play in the winter, or is it vice versa? I think it might be vice versa. It's one or the other. And they do that, and that's a good group of kids that can do that. And then a lot of other people come in during the year. There are some people who I didn't realize were a part of that part of the arts, and then I saw them at the play and they did really great. So there's a lot of opportunities within that. And yes, so there's a bunch of different opportunities if you didn't like music specifically. I mean, I got roped into the music area of the arts, but there's a bunch of other options. And then for Student Senate, so we've had a couple meetings so far. I think Garrett mentioned as well that we're starting to write our own declaration of Perkiomen School. What that is a selected group of kids. Some are elected and some apply. During this year, it was the summer, but usually it's the spring. And they were selected, and then we get together as a group and we do dances, which we didn't really get to do this year, and we do other activities like Spirit Week. We did a little Halloween thing for Halloween on Tinnerholm Way, and we're planning a bunch of other opportunities. I think hopefully prom's in the works. It's scheduled. Hopefully that happens because we missed it last year. At least we have one dance, but we're due a bunch of student-run activities that a lot of people are interested in, and that we hope a lot of the other students are interested in as well.
All right, Mrs. Moser, I am going to turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to thank everyone again for joining us tonight. I'm so happy you were able to connect with a few of our current students. If you liked what you heard, we do have a few more virtual events scheduled for December. Our next virtual open house is scheduled for next Wednesday, December 9th at 11:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. So you can choose the time that works best for your schedule. We'll also host the SSAT Flex Test on campus Saturday, December 12th. Space is limited for this and pre-registration is required. This is the admissions test that's required for all of our applicants. And then finally, you can join us on Wednesday, December 16th at 7:30 p.m. for our athletics information session. I think a few of you are already registered, so we're excited to see you again soon. We do have a virtual admissions center online that will keep you up to date with events and all the opportunities available to connect with the admissions team and also connect with our tour guides and students. So I think Mrs. Misavicius just dropped that link in the chat. But thank you again for joining us. This was a lot of fun, and we hope to see you again